Good evening. My name is Tommy Love, and I am Executive Director of Development in the Western Oregon University Foundation. I am thrilled to be able to welcome everyone this evening to our 2015 Annual Scholarship Dinner. Tonight we are here to give a giving of thanks. It is a time for faculty, staff, and students to thank donors for their giving. At this time, I would also like to acknowledge and thank all of the important groups with us this evening. We have members of the board for the WOU Foundation with us this evening, our trustees. Also joining us this evening, we have a number of university professors, administrators, staff, and retirees joining us this evening. And a special thank you to members of the WOU Foundation staff for all behind the scenes and making this evening possible. And it is really great to see all of the student scholarship recipients here this evening. Thank you all for being here and joining us. Thank you. We also have two very special companies joining us this evening to help make tonight special. I'd like to give a thank you to Maggie and Dwight Triplett and their daughter Martha from Petals and Vines for the amazing centerpieces. And also, yes, thank you. And also a Western alum, Miriam of Haugen's Gallery Portrait Studio has very graciously donated her time and expertise to tonight's event. A special thank you to her for taking tonight's photos. Thank you, Miriam. I would also like to point out, since I'm the first one before dinner, please go ahead and start eating your salads. Don't let me hold you up on that. I hear an okay over here, so closely following directions. During dinner tonight, I hope you take the time to get to know each other and to talk about your Thanksgiving's traditions. To help get the conversation started, you will find two activities on your table. First, in the brown bag, find blank slips and markers and write down what you are thankful for this evening. Don't tell anyone and drop the slips into the bag. Once everyone is done, pass around the bag of slips for each to pull one to read. We have pre-filled the bags with some additional notes of thanks from those students and scholarship recipients who could not join us this evening. And secondly, is a tradition we started last year. It's an opportunity to get to know each other better. And the second activity is in the white bag that you also have on your on your table. And for my props here, you'll see the one bag for the slips and also the white bag as well. However, I've been told here, do not peek. Don't peek, just reach in and pull out a card with a question at the table, and again, just as last year, have fun with this activity. I would also like to thank the wonderful piano playing that we've had this evening, provided by none other than Western Oregon University's own Ashley Brulette this evening. Please give Ashley a round of applause. Western Oregon University is indeed special because of our diverse student population, great programs, beautiful landscape, and so much more. Scholarships allow us to attract and retain an amazing group of students, many of those who were able to join us this evening. During our formal presentation this evening, we will hear from a group of donors as well as a group of students. This portion of the program will begin in approximately 30 minutes, so please sit back, relax, enjoy your salad, and get to know those at your table. Again, if you have not done so already, please begin eating. Thank you all, and again, we appreciate you being here this evening and all that you do for Western Oregon University. Thank you.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Mark Weiss, president of Western Oregon University, and I want you to keep on eating, please. Feel free to keep on eating as dinner is still being served to some of you. I have a few short remarks, and I want to thank you all for being here tonight to celebrate and give thanks. Scholarships have been a passion of mine during my 10 years at Western Oregon University. They are critical to our core mission of affordability and accessibility. As the state disinvestment of higher education as the state disinvested in higher education, you, our donors, stood by Western and her students, and for that I give thanks. Scholarships continue to be critical to our collective success. At this time of positive change in our university, I am glad we are taking a moment to celebrate the nearly 400 students and 200 donors and contacts that are part of the WOU Foundation Scholarship Program. Of course, 400 students are not here tonight because many of them have sent their regrets. They're either at class or needing to work or study this evening. So for them, that reaffirms a commitment to you, our donors, about how important your commitment is for scholarships. Each year we add new scholarships, and this year is no different. I would like to acknowledge the new scholarships that have been established, and they are listed on the back of your program. I feel confident and hopeful as the university begins the transition to a new president. As a university, we are a leader in outcomes, moving our students from teenagers just out of high school through to graduation. We provide the type of quality academic experience that changes families. Many times I've heard that a student's scholarship is the difference between attending Western Oregon University or trying to head directly into the workforce. Please know that we are grateful to each of you and the impact that you make on our students. My hope is that during your dinner, you were able to share stories and to hear firsthand about what it means to both give and receive a Western scholarship. For one final time as your president, it is my sincere pleasure to thank you for making an impact for our students. Now I would like to introduce our moderator for tonight's panel, ERIN McDonough. ERIN, amongst other duties, coordinates the WOU Foundation Scholarship Program. ERIN.
As Ashley leaves the stage, wasn't she wonderful? I hope you could hear her piano playing. She's also a scholarship recipient. She receives the Ramsdale Clifton Kearns Johnson Scholarship, like many of you here in the audience. So I'm very excited, and I want to personally and kind of group-wise thank Mark for his kind of true focus on scholarships during his time here. It's been a passion of his, like he mentioned, and we really he's put a big emphasis on it for the entire university. And you can see that tonight from the donors to the students. So thank you, Mark, for your continued passion around scholarships. And I'm really excited because I get to facilitate these two panels, and these are two groups I get to work with pretty regularly, students and donors. So to bring this conversation together is really kind of exciting for me. So without further ado, we're gonna get to our first panel, which is a group of donors. And our first one, I'm gonna bring up Chester Anonson, and Chester, walk while I talk about you. Chester is a WU alum and a former scholarship recipient himself. He participates in our largest fundraising event each year for student-athlete scholarships, the Wolves Athletic Auction. He also is now a commercial banking relationship manager at U.S. Bank. And U.S. Bank has been donating to the WU Foundation Scholarship Program since 1988 and is one of our kind of base scholarships that's really important to us each year. So welcome, Chester.
Thank you.
I'd like to next invite CATHI Ruth to come on up. I'm going to talk about CATHI as well. CATHI and her husband Guy established a scholarship endowment in their names in 2004. Guy was a faculty member here at Western for 32 years, and CATHI received her master's degree here. So she covers both alumni and former faculty, which also covers many of the folks here in this room. And now Mark Fancy. Mark Fancy is not only Monmouth's Community Development Director, he is a committed scholarship donor. Just a few years ago, he began investing in the next generation of city planners by sponsoring the Leo Fancy Geography Scholarship. He also played a role in the establishment of the Monmouth Business Association Scholarship, which was given out for the first time this year. And our fourth person, please welcome Michelle Haberlack. Michelle is a parent of a WU grad, and she is passionate about the type of education that Western provides. Michelle established 2 scholarships, one in memory of her husband, and one for the small community in which she's a high school math teacher. So please welcome Michelle. So just a little background for everybody in the group. We asked the students to RSVP for this event online, and they fill out an online survey. One of the questions we asked them this year was, what question would you most like to ask a scholarship donor? And pretty amazingly, they fell into just some very similar buckets. So we're gonna ask you those questions. And we're gonna see how this goes. If you all answer all 4, if we spread it around a little bit. But I want you all to answer this first one. So there was a number of questions that asked, you could invest in a lot of things, and especially give to a lot of things when it comes to donations. You could, the homeless or puppies or whatever. Why are you giving to college students?
Well, U.S. Bank as a whole and myself, for the most part, have chosen to give to college students because college students are our future, especially here in the Willamette Valley and across Oregon. Many of the students that receive these scholarship dollars will benefit our communities and be future leaders across the state and, frankly, even across the United States. So this investment hopefully will pay dividends in both the students' lives and in our communities.
Kathy, I'll pass to you.
I guess the basic reason is gratitude. Both my husband and myself would not have had university educations had it not been for a great deal of scholarship help. Like many students here, we were first generation college. Neither of our families could give us any support. So through the generosity of others, people I will never know who they are, I was able to attend the University of Chicago, and my husband was able to attend the University of New Hampshire and come out with no debt. And so this is a debt that I feel, a gratitude that I will always feel. The other reason is that we were both educators, and for all of our years, working years, we were able to begin to see the impact of what we did. When we retired, we just could not think of anything better to do with some of the discretionary funds that we had than to help other students where we had been helped.
I would echo the thought about giving to the future, because this is the future of our world and our country that we look at, or as I like to describe it, the people who are going to be deciding about my Social Security someday. And so I think there's that. And I think also, for me, I reached a certain point in life, a certain point in career, and you want to give back. I was like you once. I was young. I was starting out, and it's just an opportunity with discretionary funds that I have to be able to give back and give to that future.
I stole my answer. So I'll just go with a short one, in that I'm an optimist, and I look out at the audience tonight and I see the future, and it's very bright and it makes me happy.
These guys appreciate your applause. I do too, but I want to ask them lots of questions. So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to ask them to not applaud, but I will allow you to give a huge round of applause at the end. So we want to ask them lots of questions. Second question. So you're now giving to college students. Why are you giving to Western Oregon University college students?
Well, the first reason is because WU is such a great university. But besides that fact is that, supporting the university system as a whole through the college students that obviously go here is going to echo again through our community. And not only that, though, is that it's going to build a fantastic foundation for future generations that will hopefully attend the university and hopefully enrich the students' lives that receive these funds.
I'm going to throw you a curveball. What did you love about coming here?
My number one thing that I love most is the people. I know obviously many of you in this room, and I still hold you all dear to my heart. And honestly, you know, that's echoed through the small class sizes and the people that I've met here. Some of my best friends and people that are basically family to me, I met here, including my wife. So,
Kathy, you're up.
Well, I counted up, my husband and I have been associated with 9 other universities during the course of our life, but there was never any question that we were going to establish a scholarship at Western Oregon. We came to Monmouth in 1966 when my husband first started teaching here, and he had a 32-year career here in earth sciences. I taught here as an adjunct. I got my master's degree here. Both our children went to Western. But in addition to all of those associations, this is the kind of school that we would want to support in any case. The number of first-generation students that come here, the number of scholarships that are given out. My husband loved his job here, and he often said the reason he loved it so much was that it was a teaching institution, and that he got to talk to colleagues across campus. Art would talk to science, and science would talk to education. That doesn't happen everywhere, and it's to the benefit of students that it does happen. But most of all, he loved the students for their enthusiasm, and he just thought it was the greatest privilege in the world to work with such people.
I guess for me, it's because this is the hometown school here. I live here and I work here. I'm in contact and work with a lot of folks here at WU, and I really have come to love this university. And I should also mention that 3 or 4 years ago, I was invited as a guest to the President's Dinner, and I had always thought that scholarships were the kind of things that rich people gave out. I could never do something like that. And after seeing what some of the scholarships were there and talking with Tommy Love, who's a friend of mine, and ERIN McDonough, who's also a friend of mine, you know, they were able to show me, we were able to come up with a plan so that I can fund a scholarship. And so, you know, that's a result, I guess, of that connectedness I feel to this university. I went to a small school myself, Southern Oregon University, but this is right now where I choose to give.
Similarly, I graduated from West Point, and I'm a first-generation college student. And I don't think I ever would have been successful unless I had a supportive, intimate learning community. And I never went to classes with more than 12 people in them. And so this was an opportunity for me to support an institution that, like the other speakers have said, is invested in quality teaching, provides an intimate learning community for all of its students, and most importantly for my family. There's a family connection. My husband's eldest and youngest went to Western. They're very, very different people, but Western had enough room for both of them and could accommodate both of their needs and help them take a very successful path to the future. And for that, I'm very grateful.
That's right. So they also wanted to take a very sincere interest in you when they were asking these questions. So these next 2 questions are a little bit about you from the donor's perspective and a little bit more personal. So how did you get to where you are now?
Well, that's kind of a tough question, but you know, there's obviously a lot of things that have to happen for you to get where you're currently at in life, and you know, I attribute quite a bit of things, obviously, to your friends and family, but you know, kind of the spirit of this event, you know, I wouldn't have been able to attend Western Oregon University if it wasn't for the scholarship dollars that I received, both from this very fundraiser and some others through athletics. You know, that coupled with, you know, commitment to both my education and, you know, integrity and lots of sacrifice. You know, a lot of people in this room, you got to give up a lot of things to try to get where you want in life, and I would echo that to everybody, you know, and I think that really has a lot to do with where I'm at today.
Well, my husband had a fairly straight path. He always knew it was geology, he always knew it was teaching, and he always knew he wanted to do it at the university level. Mine was a little bit more zigzag than that. I started out as an English literature major and was intending to be a high school English teacher, but got certified as an elementary teacher on a very practical reason. My husband was going for his PhD. I was going to need to be the support, and there are more jobs in elementary education. And you will find that true of your lives, I'm sure, that sometimes the practicalities are very important. Thankfully, I fell in love with that level. I was home for a while until my kids went to grade school, and I went back for my master's, found a field I loved in educational media and technology. I worked at the elementary level, and in around 1980, I fell in love again with computers. Did a lot of work in educating teachers on the use of computers and computer applications. I had taught at Western on and off for 20 years as an adjunct in the evening and summers in my field. Eventually I decided I wanted to go into educational administration with the hope of being an elementary principal. But instead got a job with the local school district as curriculum and technology director. And that was the job from which I retired. Taught a little bit at Western after that, supervised teachers before I retired for good. So whichever path you take, straight arrow or zigzag, be open to it.
Yeah, I'm a zigzag also. I left, I went to 1 year of junior college in the San Francisco Bay Area and then left to go have adventures during the time when the age when all my fellow high school students were in college. So I was off having adventures during that time. I remember telling my dad at the time in my 19-year-old wisdom that I've been a student now for 13 years, and that's longer than some people have a career, and I want to change careers. So I did. I went and did some other things, and that's a whole other story. When I came back to college, I was 30 years old, and much more able to focus on it in retrospect. It was a good decision ultimately that I made. And went through 4 years at Southern Oregon University, got a degree in geography. Started out I was going to be a high school math teacher until I got to second term calculus and realized that wasn't going to happen. And I became like one of those students that I used to help, that I couldn't understand why their eyes looked glazed over and they didn't understand math. It was so easy to me when we were taking algebra. When I got to calculus, I understood how they felt. And then went on to the University of Oregon because it was kind of like I was 34 years old, I had a family, I had to get a job, I had to do something. And one of the fields you can go into with a degree in geography is urban planning. So I got a master's degree at the University of Oregon in urban planning. So I got a late start in my career, but I've been doing that ever since for the last 20 some odd years.
I'm very zigzagged as well. No straight line. I would have never predicted that I am where I am right now when I was sitting in your seat. I woke up in a cold sweat as a senior at West Point and realized I had to be in the Army for 5 years. And I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to do with that because I went to West Point pretty much for school and because they let me play sports every day at 3. Well, I ended up becoming a helicopter pilot because if I was to give you any advice, I would say yes more than you say no. Because the opportunities open up and you get the ability to do things you never even dreamed of. So I was a helicopter pilot for about 15 years, and then I transitioned into doing international development for the military. I'm currently working on agriculture and water projects and public health for the military, which is very interesting and different. Simultaneously, since I'm an Army reservist, and for the kid that woke up in a cold sweat wondering what she was going to do in the Army for 5 years, it's almost 30 years later and I'm still there. A couple continents, a few wars in between, and lots of support from my loving family. But I was terrible in math, and I really didn't like math at all. And I was always the kid you helped until I got to West Point and they let me play with math. And I got to go in wind tunnels and fly helicopters, and then it made sense to me because it wasn't math anymore. It was a tool for solving problems. And so I got the opportunity later in life to hopefully reach back and be the math teacher that I needed when I was a kid, the one that let you play with math and learn a little bit more about how it was used in the real world. And I am very blessed and thankful to have had all those opportunities.
So this is a pretty cool group. So I've heard it's okay to zigzag, hard work, integrity, and say yes more than you say no. So I think that's a good place for us to give these guys a huge round of applause. Well done. Thank you. We're going to call up some students, and I'm going to call them up quickly, and then I'm going to tell you who they are. Christy, Tim, Jake, and Maria, come on up. So I've got Jacob Marsh directly to my left. Jacob also has the Ramsdale Clifton Kearns Johnson Music Scholarship. Then I've got Christy, I think, yes. I've scooted you all up, so I can't see you very well. Christy Colasurdo, jeez, I practiced even, receives funding from the Wolves Athletic Auction, as also has the Ruth Lautenbach Athletic Scholarship. And then Tim DeMichele is a recipient of the Alumni Association Scholarship, so all the alumni in the room. And then Maria Vargas, she is a recipient of the David S. Brody Memorial Scholarship. We, similarly to with you guys and asking you to give us questions, I went out and I asked donors to provide me with questions that they wanted to learn from you. And the first one, I really had it made an impression on me, and I asked this donor, I said, what would you like to hear from a student that's a scholarship recipient? And she paused for a long time, really giving this a lot of thought. And then she looked at me and she said, does it matter? And so I want to ask you, does your scholarship matter?
All right, I guess I'll start. Yeah, scholarships matter. Their college, as you know, has gotten a lot more expensive and is almost prohibitive in some areas. And from someone who, like many of you guys, doesn't have the strongest economic background, scholarships made the difference between me just going to work in Eugene and just, trying to save up from there until I could go to U of O or somewhere, or, coming here and getting the same degree and not being as oppressed by the threat of financial ruin, really. So of course it matters, and it's really, really nice.
I'm definitely going to agree with that. Scholarships really do make a huge difference. Whether it's, I don't have to worry about pulling money out of my pocket right now to pay for school, and I don't have to stress out about assuming loans in the future. It's just, and also someone wanting to help me and help further my education, that's an awesome feeling to have. So just overall feeling getting a scholarship, it really does matter.
Yeah, as I was thinking about answering this question, I found it easy to gloss over the fact that there's thousands of dollars being transferred around the university to pay for our education, and that turns into real money when you graduate, and you're supposed to pay it out. And so I'm thankful for another $1,000 that I don't have to pay back, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to still go here with a great education.
Yes, definitely scholarships matter. For me, they've allowed me to really get the most out of Western Oregon University. The biggest thing that I like about this school is the diversity and the fact that you can be so well-rounded, because it's not just about the grades, it's about every other experience that you get here. And having my school all paid for allows me to, be involved in clubs, be involved in the community, and do so much more. But one of the biggest things is it allows us to give back. And so for my scholarship, I am able to give another scholarship to high school students from the Upward Bound program. And I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't have that extra money.
I think this is a really important and great cross-section of our students. So we're going to do a little fast, rapid-fire questioning for them so you can get to know them a little bit and kind of think of them as the students that are at your table as well. So we'll start here, go down, and then we'll come back, okay? So major.
I'm a music major here.
Community health and education.
Public policy and administration.
Social science and Spanish.
Okay, Maria, coming back. You're in school.
Senior.
Junior.
Junior.
Freshman.
Yay. Hometown.
I'm from Cottage Grove, Oregon, which is just south of Eugene.
Olympia, Washington.
Maui, Hawaii.
Silverton.
Goal, career.
Ideally, I'd like to make a lot of money playing music, but realistically, I really want to be a high school music teacher. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
I would like to be a dietitian.
I'd like to be mayor.
run my own nonprofit.
Awesome. We'll start with Maria and come back. Number of brothers and sisters?
5.
2 younger brothers.
3.
I have one of each. I have a younger brother and a younger sister.
Awesome. Did your parents go to college?
Yes, my dad went to U of O in the 80s, and my mom just graduated 2 years ago. So.
For her.
My mom graduated from UW a couple years ago, and my dad graduated from LaSalle in the 80s.
My dad graduated from Arizona State. My mom graduated from Drake.
Nope. The first one?
Yes, good. Club or activity you participate in campus? Maria, you come this way.
All or just one?
We're going to allow you to do all because it's pretty impressive, or all you can remember right now.
I'm the president for Kappa Delta Chi sorority. I'm the activities director for the Multicultural Student Union. I've been a service leader to Honduras, Panama, Portland, San Francisco, Nevada, and I'm going on my second Honduras one. I'm part of the Student Conduct Board. Let me see, I'm part of the Multicultural Representative Programs, mentoring students that are coming in to college, and I'm a tutor for the Upward Bound program here at Western.
Tim, it's you.
I've been to one philosophy club meeting. However, I do over 20 hours a week volunteering as a high school mentor in my church in Corvallis, and so that's where the bulk of my time goes. Maybe I should invest more in the university.
I play volleyball here on campus. My coach is over there, Brad. And I'm really involved in that. I've been involved since I was a freshman. I did a year of German club, and I did a year of coaching last year for Capital City League up in Salem.
Right now, so far, the only club I'm involved in is the Jazz Rep combo here on campus, and I'm in a variety of student-led groups, but that's pretty much it.
Okay, these are all, your donors are here, so this is an important one. Your favorite place to study on campus?
Mine's probably in the practice rooms in the music building. It's quiet because it's like insulated, so supposedly no one can hear you from the hallway. And it's really nice. It's solitary. You can really focus in that room. So.
Third floor of the library, the quiet floor.
Same here, when it is quiet.
Second floor, alcove area of the library.
Well, that's great. Thank you, guys. So we're going to go on to our next question. Describe potentially an obstacle or something you had to overcome or something that's unique about your story in getting you here to Western.
Okay, one of the obstacles I think was just like general apathy. Kind of like one of our donor panel speakers. I didn't want to go to college, really. It was just kind of, I felt like I had spent enough time in school and I really didn't like high school, and it just like the thought of going to college really was kind of not appealing. But the thought of a better future was appealing. So I decided to take the leap to get over myself and to kind of really make the sacrifice to come to school, and I'm really happy I did. I think it's been very good for me, so yeah.
So I've been playing competitive volleyball since I was about 9 years old, and if you're not familiar with sports and recruiting, your junior year of high school is a really important year for that. And when I was in my junior year of club, my team fell apart halfway through the season. So my dream of becoming a collegiate athlete I thought it was done if I was going to have an opportunity. So through that, I sent out film to coaches, emailed aggressively, really conversated with a lot of people saying, hey, I'm not on the club team right now, but I will be, I'm going to get there, I want this. And so through my hard work, I was able to join a club team, just random teams, and showcase myself, and eventually I got scouted to come here, which was my first pick. And yeah, so my goal came true.
I spent all 4 years of high school heavily invested in the JROTC program, and so I haven't aimed for a state college. I was aiming for the academies, like our fourth speaker. And when I came to Oregon, I was initially at Oregon State University with the Navy program, and I decided after a semester that I didn't want to do the military, and I just decided that it'd be better economically to go to Western, and I'm grateful that I can still be in part of government, which is my passion, and it's cheaper.
Something that I've had to deal with was when I was in 8th grade, I realized that I was undocumented. So coming to college, I've always wanted to go to college, ever since I could remember, even if none of my parents went. And that was very difficult, but I told my mom, you need to go visit a lawyer. I made an appointment for her, she went. But I didn't know that I got my documentation until, the summer before I came to college. And, you have to make connections, you have to network and meet people. And I got my residency, and I got the David Brody, which is a full ride to Western. And it all just kind of happened, and that's why I'm really, really motivated to just give back to other people as well.
So that was a good kind of answer to our next question. So how are you going to pay this gift forward? So why don't we start with you, Marie, and we'll come down.
Well, first thing, I already started my scholarship this year. It's called Every Dream Begins with a Dreamer Scholarship, and I gave $500 to a high school senior from Upward Bound, and I hope to continue doing that if I have money. And I'm also going to give back by having my own nonprofit that serves as a family resource center for Latino families.
I hope initially to volunteer with the Alumni Association whenever possible if they have needs. And in the future, I think I could see myself giving a scholarship to Western.
I plan to pay for the scholarship by just working really hard in school and making most of the money given to me. And I really want, with my career being a dietitian, I really want to work with people and better their lives and their quality of life. So hopefully I am going to be able to do that with the money.
And I plan on paying this forward by eventually being an educator and encouraging other students who are in my position of not wanting to go to college to really, at least try it and make the effort, because you never know what you're going to like. So I wish someone would have given me a bigger push.
So I think I didn't have to do much pushing to get these guys up here, but it takes huge guts to stand up here in front of 200 people. Can we give them a huge, huge round of applause? You guys are great. Thank you. So I just want to thank you all again for allowing me to facilitate this wonderful relationship between donor and student. It really is truly an honor, and that's what tonight's all about. I hope you got to do that a lot at your tables. And my next privilege is to introduce our last speaker of the night, our ASWU president, Corbin Garner, and he's going to say a few closing remarks.
All right, thank you, Erin. First off, that is an incredible program. The opportunity we get to see donors as students is huge. A lot of times you're faceless individuals, so it's a really, really great opportunity to get to know your stories and why you choose to give to this great institution. And also to see the students. This is, as Erin put it, a really great selection of students that identifies a pretty good cross-section of who we have here at school. So with that, being in my position as student body president, I really get a unique opportunity to get to know our students. And as was stated here, we have a very diverse group. Diverse doesn't even begin to touch the surface of every aspect of students that we get here, be they first generation, students with disabilities, students of different racial backgrounds. The list is never ending, and they really come here and find a home. I think that's the most important thing about our students is that wherever they come from, whatever their background is, they really make a home here at Western. I think that's really big. Also in my role, I get to sit on the Root Foundation board, which has been a really eye-opening experience to me to get to see how important these donor scholarships are. Obviously, there's 200 people in this room, and that's only a portion of the people who benefit from those scholarships. So as tuition continues to be a barrier for our students, like they mentioned, tuition is constantly raising, state funding is questionable at best. Your donations really make it possible for students to overcome that barrier and become educated and get degrees and move on with their lives so they can give back to our communities. So on behalf of all students at Western and myself, I really want to say thank you for all that you do. So in September, more than 100 students who received scholarships gathered together in appreciation. They, as part of the event, made a piece of art. The painting which is right over here. The painting symbolizes the long-lasting and far-reaching impact scholarships have beyond graduation. Just as donors have made an imprint on our recipients here and before and coming up, this piece of art was actually made by the thumbprints of the individuals who are showing their appreciation. And tonight, one of you gets to take it home. It's pretty exciting. Got names in a jar. Now if I can get it open. All right, so mix them up a little bit. Our winner of this beautiful piece of art is Betty Welty. This will be presented by Nicole Larson, who is a recipient of the Emeritus Society Scholarship. So if you can raise your hand, please, so we can bring this to you. Betty. Congratulations and thank you for your donation. Fortunately, that is not the only thing that gets to be taken home tonight. If you notice, there are these beautiful centerpieces, as Tommy had mentioned earlier, provided to us by the hardworking people down at Petals and Vines. If you look on the back of your program, some of you have a nifty little Petals and Vines sticker. If you have it, you'll know. Is there a sample? Haha. So if you have the sticker, it'll be located right here. It'll look like this. If you happen to be the individual with that sticker, please take home the centerpiece at the end of the evening. Also, when we turn the lights back up, we ask you to please stay, enjoy dessert, enjoy your conversation. This is a really unique opportunity to get to know one another. So again, thank you all for your donations and for students being present here, and we look forward to seeing you all again next year.